Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about a recap of this week's WNBA games, and we're now going to talk about the top collegiate powerhouses shaping professional women's sports. So in the spirit of college applications and people committing to schools and such, I wanted to do a little different segment today where we're going to talk about the colleges that are best for athletes who want to go into the WNBA, PWHL, and NWSL. But I'll explain what I mean by all of that. So before we get started, though, I wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show, and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. Also, this puts your questions and comments at the top of the list so they get read on the air. And of course, your support really helps the show. Once again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Now that we got that out of the way, it is time to get started. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the top 5 schools for the WNBA, Women's National Basketball Association, PWHL Professional Women's Hockey League, and NWSL National Women's Soccer League. So we're going to start with the WNBA. And just to clarify when I mean like the top schools, I mean the schools that have produced the most draft picks or most professional athletes. For WNBA specifically for this, we're going to be talking about the schools that have produced the most athletes into the league themselves. Not just this year, I mean since the beginning of the WNBA. So the 2 schools that have come out at the top of this list should not be much of a shocker. It is University of Connecticut and University of Tennessee. They both have over 40 players drafted into the WNBA over their 27 years of the WNBA. The Connecticut program has produced some of the best players in WNBA history, highlighted by number 1 overall draft pick Sue Bird in 2002, Diana Taurasi in 2004, Tina Charles in 2010, Maya Moore in 2011, and Brianna Stewart in 2016. The late Pat Summitt led Tennessee until 2012, winning 8 national championships and sending plenty of lady volunteers to the WNBA. Of the 43 WNBA players drafted out of Tennessee, 29 came during Summitt's tenure, so including a pair of number 1 overall picks in Shamik Holsclaw in 1999 and Candace Parker in 2008. Third we have here is Stanford, with a total of 30 players drafted in the WNBA. Some of the most popular and standout players from Stanford, the WNBA, are Jennifer Azzi, Candace Wiggins, Nicole Powell, Kate Starbird, Caleb Pedersen, and this year's outstanding rookie, Cameron Brink. Fourth is Duke, which has produced a total of 26 WNBA players. Lindsay Harden, who was the number 1 draft pick from 2007, was from Duke. Also from Duke was Allison Bales, Chelsea Gray, Abby Weiner, Monique Curry, Elizabeth Williams, and Rebecca Greenwell. At 5th is Baylor University. The Bears men's basketball team who won March Madness like 3 years ago, I want to say their women's team is just as good, if not even better. The Baylor Bears have not, it's like hard to explain because they won March Madness, right? But then they didn't do so good the next year. Well, they did do good. When did they win March Madness? What year was it? I want to say it was 3 years ago. But the women's basketball team at Baylor is just as good, if not even better. They just get less attention, which is something that's really sad for me. But anyway. Okay, so Brittany Griner was the number 1 draft pick from 2013, and she's from Baylor. Also from Baylor is Dee Dee Richards, Alexis Prince, Kalani Brown, Lauren Cox, Chloe Jackson, Alyssa Smith, and G. Jonai Carrington were also from Baylor. Baylor had a total of 24 of their female basketball players play in the WNBA. Baylor's also tied with Georgia, who also had 24 of their players play in the WNBA. This is strange, but there has not been a number 1 draft pick who was from Georgia. Little fun fact. I did not know that, and I was kind of shocked to see that because Georgia, I thought, has always been really good at women's basketball. You would have thought that they would have a number 1 draft pick from their school. But anyway, some of the greatest WNBA players from Georgia are Sherrill Baker, Kara Braxton, Keisha Brown, May Cadwell, Deborah Carter, Corey Chambers, Teresa Edwards, and Tracy Henderson. It's just so weird sometimes, there's so many players, amazing players in the WNBA, that we all hear their names all the time. We all talk about them, but we never know what school they're from because they've been in the league for so long, or you're always focused on where the rookies are from, so you just kind of don't remember where other people are from, things like that. So, I don't know. I just like knowing where some of the top athletes are coming from, just because it is interesting to see, like, Stanford is and Duke is very known for, and Tennessee is very known for softball as well. So it's funny to see that, like, these are the same schools that are known for other sports as well. It's cool to look at, I think. But just for some other interesting information, the rookies this year are kind of from everywhere, and I didn't realize how they're literally from everywhere. I mean, like, I see all the time, like, where they're from, but I always, like, forget that none of them are, like, from the same school. Caitlin Clark, as we know, played for the University of Iowa. Camila Cardoso played for the University of South Carolina. Cameron Blank played for Stanford. Rakia Jackson played for the University of Tennessee. JC Sheldon played for Ohio State. Angel Reese came from LSU. Marquisha Davis was from the University of Mississippi. Eli Edwards was from the University of Connecticut. Obviously, these are not all the WNBA rookies, but these are just some of the best rookies this season, and they all come from different areas in school, which is super cool and brings in a lot of new interest into the WNBA. I think it's definitely also helped the WNBA bring in a lot of new interest too, is by having such a diverse selection of draft picks. So now let's move on to the PWHL. We're just going to talk about this year's season. Of the 90 players drafted, Ohio State University, Northeastern University, Clarkson University, Quinnipiac University, and the University of Minnesota produced the most players. The players from Ohio State are, I'm going to pull up the picture. Oh, someone just said Baylor won in 2019. Thank you so much for telling me that, because I was literally losing my mind. How long ago was that? 5 years? Was it that long ago? Wait, that's not 5 years ago. 23, 22, 21. That wasn't 4 years ago. Okay, anyway, it was a lot longer than I thought it was. There's no way it was that long ago. That's so weird. I, like, remember exactly where I was when, like, they won and everything. That's so weird. Okay, anyway, the players from Ohio State University are Sophie, Jaques, Claire DeGeorge, Liz Snipers, Madison Beazell, Peyton Luvis, Jency Rose, Emma Maltius, Natalie Spooner, and Mitchu Tuominen. Jaques is playing for Boston. Shepard and DeGeorge are playing for Minnesota. Beazell is playing for Montreal. Levis is playing for New York. Rosiel is playing for Ottawa. Spooner and Matthias are playing for Toronto. And Tuominen has a difficult situation considering she wasn't at training camp, and there were a lot of other stuff going on that we're not going to get into. So there isn't really necessarily a team that she's, like, assigned to, I guess. Okay, so Northeastern University produced 9 PWHL players as well. Erin Frankel, Alina Muller, Kendall Coyne, Schofield, Denisa Krevshiva, Maureen Murphy, Chloe Allward, Brooke Hobson, Haley Skarmura, and Maud Poland-Labelle. Frankel plays for Boston. Muller plays for Boston as well. Schofield plays for Minnesota, and same with Krashiva. Murphy plays for Montreal. Allward plays for New York, and same with Hobson. Skarmura plays for Ottawa, and Poland-Labelle plays for Toronto. At Clarkson University, the players are Loren Gabel, now playing for Boston. Jamie Lee Rittray, also playing for Boston. Era Ambrose, playing for Montreal. Gabrielle David, also playing for Montreal. Elizabeth Gagari, playing for New York. Ella Shelton, also playing for New York. Savannah Harmon, playing for Ottawa. Renata Fast, playing for Toronto. Erica Howe, also playing for Toronto. And Emma Keane, also playing for Toronto. I find it so funny how there'll be so many people from the same school playing on the same team. I'm like, isn't that crazy? Like, I feel like when people graduate school, it's like they're always like, I'm gonna get away from everyone. Like, that's like a whole thing, and then, like, they end up playing on the same team. I don't know, random thought. Okay, don't make fun of how the way I say this school's name, Quinnipiac. I have been trying so hard to figure out how to say this school's name. I literally, every single time someone says the school's name, I'm like, how do you say that? Like, I can't say it, and I feel so bad. Okay, so ignore that. The players from this school are Cheyenne Darcanello, playing for Boston, Taylor Gerard, also playing for Boston, Nicole Costo for Boston, Emma Greco from Minnesota, Katie Towin from Montreal, Corinne Schroeder from New York, Emma Woods also for New York, Lexi Odziha for Ottawa, and Zoe Boyd also for Ottawa. And then lastly, at the University of Minnesota, the players that came from this school that are now playing for Boston are specific. Oh my goodness, oh no, I'm so sorry. Okay, technical difficulties there, guys. I'm so sorry. Guys, I'm telling you, it is Friday. This has been a long day, okay? I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. University of Minnesota. The players that are playing for Boston right now are Hannah Brandt, Gigi Marvin, and Emily Brown. Now playing for Minnesota are Lauren Bench, Taylor Heiss, Amanda Laville, Kelly Panic, Lee Steckland, Grace Zoom-Winkle, and Abigail Boren. Now playing for New York is Savannah Narcos, and for Toronto is Olivia Knowles. Now let's talk about the NWSL. I love talking about soccer and just anyone that is on a soccer team in general. So we're going to focus on this year's season with the schools that have the most players drafted. Yesterday, I talked about the top 10 draft picks in the NWSL and how they're doing. So if you're interested in hearing about that, I recommend that you go ahead and check that video out. We're only going to go up to the top 4 schools because there are a lot of ties when you get farther down the list. Like, there was like 5 schools that were tied at 2, and I was like, I can't, there's no way I can go through all of that in 12 minutes. So, so we're just going to go to the top 4. So at number 1 should be no shock, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. This school's really known for their soccer, honestly most of their sports, and they have the first and second draft picks who are now killing it on the field. And if you're interested in checking that out, please go check out the video. I had a lot of fun making it. Allie Sentnor was the number 1 draft pick, followed by Savy King. Sentnor now plays for the Utah Royals and has already scored multiple goals, and King plays for the Bay FC. Also from UNC is Macy Bell, the number 14th draft pick, who plays for Gotham. Sam Meza, the number 17th draft pick, who plays for the Seattle Reign FC. Avery Pedersen, the number 19th draft pick, who plays for the Houston Dash. And Julia Dorsey, the number 40 draft pick, who plays for the North Carolina Courage. Second was a tie between BYU and Penn State. From BYU is Brecken Mozingo, the number 4 draft pick, playing for the Utah Royals. Olivia Smith-Griffiths, the number 20 draft pick, playing for the Utah Royals as well. Olivia Wade-Katota, the 23rd draft pick, playing for the Portland Thorns. Jamie Shepard, the number 30 draft pick, playing for the Bay FC. And lastly, Lavina Vaca, the 50th draft pick, playing for the Bay FC. For Penn State, they had the same amount. They're tied. Those players from Penn State were Washington Spirit, Kate Weisner, Portland Thorns, Peyton Linehan, Kansas City Current, Ellie Whaler, Orlando Pride, Corey Dyke, and Portland Thorns, Catherine Asman. Now let's move on to the third, and that would be Clemson University. Those players are the number 5th draft pick in Washington Spirit's Hal Hirschfeld, the number 13th draft pick in Washington Spirit's McKenna Morris, the number 32nd draft pick in Kansas City Current's Hal Makiewicz, and Carolina Conti, who is the number 34th draft pick and is now playing for the Bay FC. At 4th, there's a 3-way tie. So yeah, like I said, there gets to be a lot of ties here. Stanford, Florida State, and Texas Tech are tied for having 3 of their players drafted in the NWSL. From Stanford, it's Bay FC, Maya Dom, San Diego Waves, Kennedy Wesley, and Portland Thorns, Katie Duong. From Florida State, it's Chicago Red Stars, Leilani Nesbeth, and Utah Royals, Lawrence Flins, and Kristen Roque. From Texas Tech, it is the Chicago Red Stars' Hannah Anderson, Orlando Pride's Alex Kerr, and Racing Louisville's Madison White. All these players were so amazing. They're all different ways. I really recommend you guys go watch NWSL games and focus on the rookies or the people that just got drafted this year, the new players, because they've really been like killing it out there for real. Like, I'm so impressed by all of them, especially Alex Tratner. Okay, so we are now going to go into our next segment where we're going to talk about the round 1 of U.S. Women's Open and announce a professional golfer's retirement. Sad news. Before we get into that, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.